Hey everybody, Queen Comics here today, and we are making our first cooking video. Today on the menu is going to be homemade pasta. It is my grandfather's recipe from Italy. He taught me how to make it, and I'm going to make it for you guys today. If you have a family of 4, you are going to need 2 cups of flour, 1 teaspoon of salt, 2 eggs beaten, and 4 tablespoons of water. Now, if you have 1 to 2 people in your family, you would have 1 cup of flour, a half a teaspoon of salt, a beaten egg, and 2 tablespoons of water. So today I'm going to show you guys exactly what I make as far as pasta goes. You can use this recipe in a pasta maker if you have one, so it can make your pasta from the machine. But because I don't have a pasta maker, I'm going to show you how I cut my noodles into the sizes that I want. The thinner the dough, the thinner the noodle, and the smaller the noodle, it will absorb the water and get bigger. So just keep in mind, if you make the noodle too big, it will get bigger in the pot. But for today, we're going to show you how to cut the noodles, how to make the dough, and also how to make the sauce for the noodles, which my grandfather showed me how to make this sauce. It is not his sauce. His sauce is 48 hours. This is just a fast, easy way that I make my sauce. So today, you are going to need those ingredients. You are also going to need a big metal bowl like I'm showing you right here. On my right side is my rolling pin, and on my left side are all my ingredients, which I will put into the bowl as I'm talking to you and letting you know exactly what I'll be doing in this video. I hope you guys sit back, relax, enjoy the video. I hope you enjoy making this with your family or your kids and enjoy the memories you'll make doing this. And I hope you enjoy the pasta dish that's going to be made today. So please enjoy it and let me know if you have any questions. So to our bowl, we're going to add 2 cups of all-purpose flour. As you can tell here, I'm adding my flour to the bowl. And then I'm going to add a teaspoon of salt to the bowl. Now, I don't measure my stuff. I do it by memory and by hand. So please ignore me. Follow the recipe if you want to. I just do everything by memory. But there's a teaspoon there. I'm going to make a well with my flour and then add my eggs to the well. So you want like a little hole type thing in your flour, and then you'll add your eggs to it, and then you're going to mix up your eggs and flour together. You are going to start adding your water. If you add your water, be careful. You don't want your dough too sticky. So you're going to keep mixing until you have the right consistency. Usually about 4 tablespoons of water will make your dough perfect. So just keep that in mind. But you're going to keep rolling it and kneading on it until the dough is fully formed. As you can tell, I just added my last 2 tablespoons. Sometimes I will add a little bit extra water if I feel like it's not right. So you'll see me do that probably in a minute. But you're going to keep kneading it until it becomes a ball. So as you can tell, I am kneading the dough to make the ball more firm and not as dry, but I don't want to over wet my dough as well. So this recipe is my grandfather's recipe. He taught me how to make dough by hand. And I love doing it. I love making these memories with my kids because they get to enjoy a real home cooked meal, not from the grocery store. So now I'm going to knead my dough. I'm going to knead it a lot, as you can tell. The more you knead it, the more stretchier the pasta will get and more chewier, which is what you want. You want a really good chewy noodle. Some people don't like it pretty chewy, but I do. So I keep kneading the crap out of it until it's done. So here we go with kneading. I will knead that for about 15 minutes to make sure that I have the right amount of consistency that I want for my dough. And then after you knead your dough and you have the perfect ball, perfect shape, perfect consistency like I'm showing you here, it's nice and chewy looking, you're going to take saran wrap. You are going to wrap your dough, cover it, and let it sit on the side for 1 hour. You want it to sit room temperature for 1 hour. Now I'm going to clean up my mess because I like to clean up as I go. So as you can tell everybody, I'm cleaning up. Now my dough has been sitting for 1 hour. So now I'm going to sprinkle the flour onto my island and get my dough out and get it ready to be rolled out by the pin. So now I also add flour to my rolling pin all the time. That's so that the dough does not stick to your rolling pin when you are rolling it out. I do cut my dough in half because I like to do half dough and then do the other half afterwards, just so I get the right amount of noodles out of it. I'm going to shape it so I can roll it. So here we go with the rolling. Now the rolling process is the fun part. I love this part because my arthritis, it does help my arthritis. This is fun to me because you're stretching out the dough, and my kids love to cut the noodles. So they're not doing it today, but normally they do. So here we go cutting our noodles. So as you can tell, I want to cut a straight line. And then my noodles are never going to be even because of the fact that I do not have a pasta maker. I'm doing this all by hand. So you want to cut your noodles as thin as you want. Remember, the thicker the noodle, the water will absorb it and they will get a lot thicker and chewier. So I do mine pretty thin. As you're rolling, you're going to put it to the side. Do not put your noodles all together because they will stick from the warmth of the atmosphere. They will stick to each other and they will start basically merging together and your noodles will be ruined. So you want to keep them separated as much as possible. So I'm cutting my noodles up, as you can tell, very thin, the way I like it. They're not perfect, like I said. They're not going to be perfect, but it's exactly the way that I was taught, and I love doing this. So I'm going to keep cutting my dough, and just make sure that I get all my noodles taken care of. I'm going to cut the rest of my noodles out. As you can tell, I rolled up the second piece of the dough, and now I'm cutting out all my noodles again. And you see how I have them all together? Immediately after I was done, I separated them so quickly so they wouldn't mess up. Now we're putting them in the pot. I put my noodles in the hot water between 5 to 10 minutes because I like my noodles pretty chewy. I don't like them too al dente. Sorry for the flour all over me and all over my floor, but I did not clean up as I went when I was doing this. So now we are cooking the noodles, and we are going to make sure that they are chewy enough the way we want them for the consistency. I have done this multiple times because I have tons of noodles to make. So we are slowly just making our batches of noodles and putting them into our strainer as we go, which the strainer is on my right side next to me. You can't see it because my camera is not facing the strainer, but I'm just throwing them in my strainer as I go, so that way I know that my noodles are cooked and they're good to go and I can start on the next batch. So here I go adding the next round of noodles. Like I said, you want to make sure when you add them to keep an eye on them. 5 to 10 minutes cooking time, usually for me. You can go a little longer if you want, if you don't like them very chewy. I like mine chewy, so it just depends on how you like it. So now that the noodles are cooking again, we're going to take them back out, add them again, and make sure that we can get all the noodles cooked. This technique my grandfather taught me. I've been doing this for many years. I love making my own noodles. It is the best pasta I've ever had. So thanks to him, I got to do this. So now to my sauce dish. You will need 2 shallots cut up very thin. You're going to need olive oil in your pan. Please excuse my cooking ware. My cooking ware is very old. I have not upgraded my cooking ware, but it works like a charm and I love it. So in your pan, you want to make sure you have 2 shallots. You also make sure you have 2 cans of crushed large tomato cans. You want to have a can of tomato sauce, and you want to have your seasoning. So to the pan, I'm going to add my shallots right now. I tested it to make sure that the oil was hot enough, and now I'm mixing my shallots up and making sure they cook down for the pasta sauce. I like my shallots pretty brown. I do not like them too undercooked. I like pretty caramelized shallots. So now we are adding the shallots to the pan, cooking them up, making sure they're nice and hot. And as you can tell, they're turning brown now. That's the color I love. I love when they turn that color. To me, it brings out a sweeter taste in the sauce. So now I'm going to add my crushed tomatoes. I have 2 large cans of crushed tomatoes, and I turn the heat down just a little tiny bit to about a low medium heat because you want to start stirring the sauce in with the shallots. There's not going to be a lot of shallot showing this because the way my camera is angled, it makes the color look very bright red. So you're not going to see the shallots too well in this, but it's there. So now I'm adding Creole seasoning. I love Creole seasoning. I'm also going to be adding garlic powder. I'm going to be adding to the next thing as I mix. I'm going to be adding onion powder. I'll give that a mix. And then I add my favorite seasoning of all time, which is my favorite. And I use it all the time. Slap your mama. Now, if you don't like spice, remember, do not add too much of this stuff. This stuff can get really hot. You can add whatever seasoning you want. I just added some salt, and I'm adding a little bit of pepper to it as well. Like I said, add whatever seasonings you like to this sauce. Make it your own. I just make a base. So I just tasted my sauce to see how it tastes. And now I'm adding a little bit more garlic powder to it. Mixing. Make sure, it's doing its job. And now I'm having about a half of a container of heavy whipping cream. I like whipping cream in this because it turns into a rose sauce, which is one of my favorite sauces. It's like a pink sauce, one of my favorites. So I always add this in when I make my homemade pasta dishes. So yeah. And now I'm adding about a cup and a half of Parmesan grated cheese. We're going to mix that in as well. And we're just going to mix. Going to take a few minutes. And then after I'm done mixing all my grated cheese in, I'm going to add some Italian seasoning. I crush it with my hand because it helps open up all those seasonings up to make it more bolder flavor. So I just add it in there and mix it up. Now we're just mixing our sauce, making sure that it tastes well. I think it tastes awesome. Thumbs up. Tastes freaking amazing. So now we're going to add the one thing my kids love, Parmesan cheese. And I add a little bit too much there. Got to scoop some out because I don't want to overdo it. So there goes my Parmesan cheese. I'm adding it in, and I'm going to mix it up very, very well to get it all nice and gooey and delicious because I love a cheesy sauce. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Now, this is optional. My kids love mozzarella in their sauce. You don't have to add mozzarella cheese. I do because my kids like it. So now that I added everything to it, I'm now adding my noodles because you want to keep the heat on and cook your noodles in the sauce to give your noodles flavor. It's going to absorb that flavor in the sauce and in the noodles, and it's going to bring it all together in a dish. Now, this is optional. I had some leftover baked chicken from the night before that I decided to cut up and add to my sauce as well. You don't have to add meat to it. I like to add chicken or shrimp when I make this dish, so it's really up to you. But this is a wonderful meal to make for the family. It is easy and fast to make. So I hope you guys enjoyed this wonderful meal. You guys enjoy having a wonderful dinner with your family. I love all of you. And my next video will be here soon. Thanks so much, guys. Love you.